Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, and I'm glad to be back with you guys on a beautiful Tuesday evening. Yesterday we had torrential rain, storm, tornadoes. At least 6 of them touched down here in the Chicagoland area. There are many people without power. A lot of the people's power will not be restored until this coming Saturday. So please keep everybody in the Chicagoland area in your thoughts and prayers. Everybody who does not have power, my heart goes out to you, and we hope that you guys get your power back on as soon as possible. But today was a beautiful summer day here in the Chicagoland area, and I have another great show planned for your listening and viewing pleasure this evening. Matter of fact, the young man who hung out with us last night, Mr. Maurice Miles, he did such a great job yesterday. I've invited him back tonight to serve as my guest co-host. Also coming up on the show, as you guys all know, back to school season is here. I was out earlier today, and people were out shopping and preparing for their back to school items, and some young people will be going back to traditional school, where other young people will be learning virtually. But you also know young people must have a physical exam before they go back to school. So joining us tonight is Dr. Janet Seabrook. She is also the CEO of HealthNet Health Centers, located in Gary, Indiana, and she'll be here to talk to us about COVID-19 and your children returning back to school. And then later on in the show, how many of you possibly have lost your job during this pandemic and you're not necessarily sure what you will do? Well, tonight we have a gentleman who has spent over 25 years working at the happiest place on earth, Walt Disney, the Magic Kingdom, and he has written an amazing book just talking about lessons he learned at the Magic Kingdom. You know, you have to be super happy there, but then you could have bad days. You could just really not give a, you know how it all works. Well, he'll be here tonight to talk to us about things that we can do to reinvent ourselves and how we can pivot during this very tumultuous time that we're in right now. So I want to bring in our guest co-host tonight. He did such a great job last night. I asked him, was he available tonight? And he said, all right, this is a pandemic. We're in the house. I'm available. I said, well, you did a great job. I'm glad to have him back. He's a business owner, an amazing chef, and he is a lifelong Chicago resident. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, the one and only Mr. Maurice Miles. Hey, brother.
Good evening, Art. Hey, brother. How you feeling tonight?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Just happy to be here, brother. Just happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. You did a really great job last night. The show was just so informative. People have sent me just so many messages saying that the dialogue we had last night was just incredible. And so I asked you to come back tonight because there are many more things that we want to talk about. We want to do a follow-up to the looting that happened here in Chicago that has changed the entire look of our downtown yet again, and it's only been a few months when it happened, as well as Joe Biden announced his pick for vice president, and so we'll talk about that as well as the latest COVID numbers. How's your day been so far?
It started out well. I was pleased to see that, well, one, we had lights when I woke up this morning, and two, there had been no other looting or anything like that last night, so it was a good day so far.
Yes, well, you know, on Facebook, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
I said on Facebook last night, I did a prayer before I went to bed. I said, lay me down to sleep. Please let me not wake up to a drama-filled Chicago, and please put $500,000 in my bank account. Well, one of the things did come true. The other did not.
Well, you know, when the bank account hit, make sure you let me know.
I will. Since you've done a great job, look, since you've done 2 nights on the show, you'll be getting a check for a whopping $24. So, right. You've done a good job.
Man, that's more than when you go sit on the jury. So I appreciate that.
All right. See there. Very good. Well, all right. Glad to have you here. So, Maurice, introduce yourself to everybody. Look, I know one thing. You make some of the best doggone tacos, and I never thought you were from Mexico. So, you know, I thought you was a brother from the south side of Chicago. I know you went to Whitney Young, but how did you get this finesse of making tacos like they from the original place, Mexico.
Well, you know what? The tacos I make aren't even regular tacos; they're jerk tacos. But about 5 years ago, I started working on a food truck with a business partner of mine, and Jamaican fellow. We did great business, put some good food out there, and it was really just my chance to go out to start something on my own because working in some different areas, you always think about what do I really want to do. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was be active in the restaurant industry. So this
Yeah.
was my opportunity to go out there, plant my flag, and see what I could do. And luckily, people like my food, they like my service, and I have a lot of customers and a lot of repeat customers. So
Mhm.
we've been blessed, and like I say, and I do thank you for all the compliments.
Yes, sir. Well, if nothing else, people love to eat. People love food that is flavorful and delicious. And, that's funny you say that. I grew up in the food business. And the one thing that I regret is that I never, well, I won't say never, but I've always wanted a comfort food diner, healthy
Hmm.
though, where people could come and eat really great, healthy comfort foods.
Hmm.
And so that's always been a dream of mine. So I don't know, Maurice, it may not be too late after we talk to our second guest this evening. Maybe he'll put that passion back into me, but I would love to do a comfort food restaurant that offers healthy alternatives of your favorite foods.
Absolutely, and those that know you are being very modest because you are a chef in your own right. So
Well,
don't start playing that. We know you can burn too now.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I do, but I guess as I get older and health issues and things like that, I'm one of them people now. Like, look, reservations for two, please. Shaken, not stirred.
Absolutely.
Right, and medium rare, please. Medium rare. That's who I am now. But who knows? It might come to fruition. I might be able to hire some people that I think are great chefs or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I love this. This is my number one passion. But my dream is to have a wonderful diner that serves healthy comfort food. So we'll see.
Well, you know what? You are a local Chicago icon. Matter of fact, you're a nationwide icon.
Well, thank you.
If you put your name out there, brother, the people will come.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for that. I do. We'll have to get some of your jerk tacos in the place. We'll have those on the menu.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Maurice, I want to start off with the Illinois COVID update numbers. Illinois public health officials on Tuesday, which is today, announced 1,549 new confirmed COVID-19 cases. Unfortunately, we had 20 additional fatalities as a result of COVID-19. The state has a new report number, and the new report number is 196,948 cases overall, and we now have 7,657 confirmed deaths. That's a lot of people, my friend. That's a lot of death, destruction, sickness. Just unimaginable. Maurice, last year this time, it's amazing how social media reminds you where you were. I was at beach parties and hugging and kissing on people and doing what I do, and none of that is even in existence this year. How's all this been with you and your family?
Well, I can tell you it's been different. My daughter had to leave Fisk University early to come home because of the COVID outbreak. The shelter in place was something that I don't think anyone has had to deal with before, and it's been an experience, man. And what I've told folks is this COVID-19 situation is not real to some people until they lose somebody that's close to them. And in my circle, I've lost a couple of folks due to this virus.
Wow.
So you just have to take precautions, man. And we do all that we need to do. We got gloves, we got masks, we got hand sanitizer. So we're doing what we can do, and we're definitely social distancing. But it's affecting every facet of our life, to be honest with
You're absolutely right. It's I've not had anyone that I know personally to pass away from COVID, but
you.
just even our day-to-day operations and how we have been living our lives. As I've said many times, I lost 8 friends this year to other situations, but just even how limited their funerals had to be, the fact that you cannot even grieve and mourn people the way you want to anymore. We as African Americans, we love a good repast. Now, come on now. A lot of times we just go for the repast. I mean, and none of that can even happen anymore. And so it's just, all of this has just been mind boggling. And then for us now to figure out whether or not we want to send our children off to school. Now, will your daughter be returning back to her historical Black college this year?
No, she chose to do remote learning for this semester, and I encouraged her to do so. And my little one is also going to be remote learning as well because she's in 5th grade this year. So
Okay.
everybody's going to be home, and hopefully she does better this year. I mean, she did great in her grades, but I had to learn 4th grade math again, so it was a little bit of struggle for me.
Okay, I can get that. I really can. All right. Well, for those of you all that want to get away this summer and take a vacation, most of the United States is on lockdown. Our mayor and the Illinois Department of Public Health had set out a guideline of places that if you did travel, you would have to shelter in place or quarantine for 14 days. Well, here's the good news. The Illinois Department of Public Health released today Kansas, Utah, and Iowa from the list. So you now can travel to Iowa, Kansas, and Utah. Mo, why you looking like that? Mo, why you looking like that? Well, I knew you was gonna look like that because again, when I read the list myself, I said, "Well, Father God, the only place I really would go is Kansas. I love Kansas City, Missouri. Great barbecue, good shopping there." But Iowa and Utah, okay. So, and nothing against them. Their tourism department might sponsor this show one day. But out of the 3 places, Kansas would be the only one I'd go to. What about you?
Well, man, the first thing was these are places I wasn't going anyway, so it's going to remain static for me. So, but it's good that things are loosening up in certain areas, but there's still a long way to go.
Yes, absolutely. Well, for those of you all that are used to going down south to visit Big Mama and them this time of year, well, guess what? Big Mama and them state is still on the nasty no-no list. Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Nebraska, Nevada, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin. Now, here's the good news. Because Wisconsin has been able to keep their numbers down, Wisconsin and Nebraska will possibly be removed from the list next week. So at least Wisconsin is the fun place, not too far away from us. And Nebraska, okay, I don't necessarily think I'd be going to Nebraska this time of year. I don't think so. Right.
Well, hopefully next year, this time, we'll be talking about how things were last year and we won't be going through this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I hope next year, this time, I'll be somewhere tropical or somewhere out of the country and all that great stuff. All right. So Mo, I'm going to bring this up first, and then you and I are going to talk about the remainder of what happened with the looting, the backstories, and all of that. Well, today, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden announced his choice for his VP. He did choose African American. He chose California Senator Kamala Harris as his vice presidential running mate for the 2020 election. This will make her the first Black woman and the first Asian American person. So she's biracial. And so this is interesting in many ways. I've seen good response on social media about this choice. And then I've seen some response that have been hellified. And so tomorrow night on the show, Alicia L. Ross, you guys know she's studying to get her doctorate. She and I will be presenting to you all tomorrow night who is Kamala Harris. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of Kamala Harris tomorrow evening. But Maurice, I want to get your take on this. What do you think?
Well, In fairness to your show tomorrow night, I'll just put it like this: out of all the candidates that were out there, she made the most sense. She's the most bankable candidate. She handled herself very well during the Democratic debate. And like I say, as far as the folks that were out there, he was, I guess, the most obvious pick. Susan Rice has some things going on in her circle that might, be a red flag for her. Stacey Abrams, I don't think she has the national pull to,
Mm-hmm.
pull
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing off.
Right.
And to be honest with you, and people are probably going to get mad at me when I say this, aesthetically, I don't think that they were going to bring up an African American woman who doesn't look a certain way, who has natural hair, who speaks her mind, and that kind of thing, because I just don't think we've come that far. I
No,
don't, I
no,
don't think they're going to allow that to happen. So,
no.
and also Ms. Harris is an AKA HBCU grad, so she checks a lot of boxes. But there's a lot of other things that you need to consider. But looking at what we're running against, she'll do the job, and we just need to make sure we turn out for the vote at November to get this guy out of office. And that's just my opinion. Not
Okay,
speaking of the arts thing.
that's your right. Absolutely, that's your opinion. That's the one thing I love about my co-hosts on this show. I think people enjoy this show because we tell it like it is, and it's really our opinions from our heart. We don't ever mean to offend anyone, but I want to, save Kamala Harris for tomorrow night because not quite Dr. Ross yet, but she is creating a wonderful presentation for tomorrow night so that we can find out who is Kamala Harris. But congratulations to her anyway. All right. Well, Maurice, I want to get to what happened here in Chicago from about midnight Sunday into Monday morning. Chicago's downtown and surrounding areas was looted. It was, as Grandma would say, it was toe up. It was toe up from the flow up. Folks just did whatever they wanted to do. As I told you guys, I had got up to go to the bathroom, had the TV down low. Brother, when I saw that lady standing in front of that store and they came and just demolished the store right in front of the lady, news cameras, everything, I was in shock. And so now here we are 2 days from that. And, really, a day or so from that. And so it's been a lot of different things that have come out in the news. So Maurice, go right ahead and lead us into what has come out in the news about all of this.
Well, the first thing that came to mind was there was a story that was listed about a young man who was arrested for loitering, for battering a police officer, and he was arrested through bond court and out and back at home for $500 on bond.
Wait now,
so
$500.
$500. His bond was set at $500, and as I said, his charges were looting, battering a police officer, and $500, and he's home. And so, if you look at it this way, what is the deterrent for people to have such lawless behavior if they know that for $500 they can be home, watching the news the same night that they get arrested almost?
Unbelievable and unacceptable. You understand me? Both of those things are what come to mind to me, because every one of them young people, if they were on camera, I hope the police department catch them. All you got to do is go on they Facebook pages and they advertising everything, they telling everything, and you mean to tell me he got out of jail for $500? But I guarantee you, if the cops pull me over, it's going to be far more than $500 for me to get out. That young man needs to stay in jail. And then I couldn't believe that Black Lives Matter would put out a statement talking about they should be freed, that looting was their reparations. Reparations for what? You done tore up a city. You've stolen everything. You've wrecked people's lives. We're looking at unemployed people. We're looking at people that still have to pay rent on these properties. Again, you didn't think about your auntie that's the cleaning lady at that store you busted into. You didn't think about your uncle that's the stock gentleman, the stock clerk, shipping and receiving. You didn't think about any of that. And then who would think to bust the windows of the Ronald McDonald House? That was low and petty. That was about as low and petty as breaking into Panda Express. You're going to break into a hospital, a place for people who have critically ill children, a hotel. Really, it was a house away from home that these people get to come and be with their child who is suffering from a critically ill issue. And I don't get it. I do not get it. So I don't have any mercy for any of them that was down there tearing up downtown Chicago. I don't.
You know, this thing has so many layers to it. But the thing that really just knocked me off my feet was when I heard the young lady say that, yes, we recommend that they do this. This is our reparation. And the question hit me was, does Black Lives Matter represent all Black people or just young people? Because, I know some folks who are of a certain age who were thinking about contributing to Black Lives Matter, but now they're kind of taken aback by that because the message that's coming out is not their message.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that. My good friend and I were together today, and she said, and she's always donating and contributing to organizations and people. And she said to me today, she said, I was getting ready to write a check to Black Lives Matter. She said, but then I was so confused. She said, the young lady on the news made the statement she made, and then gonna denounce Reverend Jackson like she did, and I don't know. I'm not for it. I'm not for it because, again, as we said on last night's show, yes, I am Black, but we are not all in the same box. We are not. We are monolithic people. We are people that run the gamut from listening to rock and roll, skydiving, you name it. But a lot of people think that because it's Black Lives Matter, we all in the same boat, and we're not.
The thing that really kills me is that the majority of the Black Lives Matter spokespersons are of a certain age. And it just amazes me how they have this whole thing figured out in 25 years. And I'm over 50, and I'm still kind of feeling my way around. And when you're out front and you're the figurehead for an organization, you have to make sure that you are speaking from the heartbeat of that organization and the people that it represents. And I don't think that they're really hitting all the buttons and boxes as far as that's concerned. And it's really concerning to me because you see some of these activists that are out here and they're saying, if you're not out here in the community, don't say anything about what we're doing because you haven't earned the right to be here. So now we're kind of differentiating who can say what, but we're all Black. But now since you're out front, you are just speaking for us, and we can't speak for ourselves because we haven't been out there protesting and walking with you or doing what you think we should be doing.
I agree. I don't get it. Here's what's a little disheartening to me, though. Where are our Black leaders? And I'm not putting Reverend Jackson in this because Reverend Jackson is having health issues. He's trying to do the best he can. He said it was a damn shame that y'all tore up downtown Chicago. So take it as your grandfather saying y'all messed up. Okay. But I also wonder where are all these other leaders, Maurice, that are our age? Where are all these other community outreach organizations, and how come they haven't band together and showed our young people, this is how you do this. This is how you speak. It was one young man called himself a representative. He's standing in front of a bank talking about he gonna shut it down, and he had on a wife beater. Oh, excuse me, y'all, but y'all know what I mean, the t-shirt.
Yeah.
And not, and I said to myself, how you gonna be a spokesperson and a representative of people and you standing there with a wife beater t-shirt on? I don't get that. That's inappropriate. You can put on a polo shirt, any kind of shirt, but I'm not going to take you serious standing there with a wife beater on. So where are the Black leaders our age? And I said this last night, fraternities, sororities, organizations, anybody, Big Mama and them, help these young people, but we've got to come together.
Well, in order to come together, we have to be able to communicate. And that's the first thing that's lacking, is that there's a breakdown in communication between the Black leaders and young folks that are out here. And what you have to also look at is a lot of folks that are, quote, our leaders have their own agendas. And maybe they don't want to say anything that's contradictory to their interests before they're going to speak up for the interest of the community. And we also have to look at who have we said represents us. It can be members of the clergy. It can be our elected officials. But I haven't seen really one alderman say anything about
Not
anything.
one thing. Not one thing.
And I know Pat Dow she's come out and said some things about what's pertaining to downtown because that's part of her mandate as far as her committees and all that kind of thing. But I'm looking for Brookins and I'm looking for these other aldermen that are out here. What are your constituents saying to you that you need to say to everyone else to get that word out? So, we need some more progressive thinkers that we are electing, and we need to be very selective on who we put out there to be our quote leader.
I agree with you 100% because here's the deal. The politicians, I'm not necessarily keen on them hooking up with them because that usually does mean some kind of kickbacks, some kind of favor, some kind of whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not interested in that. I'm really not interested in most of these ministers because that ends up being a kickback. That ends up being my congregation, my people, all that kind of stuff. We need a new breath of fresh air here in Chicago. The young man who does my block, my hood, I love him. Think he's amazing. There are quite a few other people out here that I think if they were able to get a seat at the table and really tell the mayor and these other people what is really going on in our neighborhoods, I think that would be the change. Early Walker, that's another young man that I appreciate the work that he's doing. I don't mean to discount any of the women out here. I need to probably meet more of these young people who are doing some things, but any mentoring programs, any programs that uplift our people, we need to hear from the new people. There's a gentleman that's doing some things out in Roseland. I think this is amazing. And so Diane Latiker, Kids on the Block. I mean, I don't know, dude. We've got to get some new blood to help us change this situation.
Well, I will say in deference to one point that you make, the Greek organizations are doing what they can. We had a Zeta and a Delta on the line last night, I think it was. But I will tell you, do you remember the first round of looting that went on back when the George Floyd situation went up? The Deltas were out at the Walmart on 83rd cleaning up, and the people were going past them to go back into the store looting while they're trying to clean up outside. So we need to understand that, we're expecting these organizations to come in here and wave some type of magic wand. We have much bigger issues to deal with that the whole village is going to have to come together and deal with. And we can't just say the Greeks need to do this, 100 black men need to be here, the clergy needs to be here. Father Flager, I love him, but sometimes Father Flager says things that are not really incongruent with what I think. So we need to figure out who is going to be our mouthpiece. And sadly enough to say it, man, we need somebody who can come out here and stand on their own and not worry about someone not funding their program or getting them out of office and that kind of thing. Those are the kind of leaders we need right now, people who are actually independent and very progressive things.
Yes, sir. I couldn't agree with you more. All right. Good job on that. Marguerite had a good point. She said, please don't give credence to the looters. The looters are not black, which I agree. They are not black lives, and that's what everybody's saying. Really, y'all stole. You robbed, you stole, you committed a criminal act. And I hope they catch as many of them as they can. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Everybody got to go. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Because really, I just cannot believe we've already gone through this situation once. And now we're going through this again. And what we're not looking at, again, the number of people who have been laid off because of this. We're looking at tax revenue. When people buy them $1,500 purses, Illinois gets money on that. So guess what? Property tax going to go up. Guess what? If Illinois say your mama link card going to get cut off, I guarantee you're not going to be happy about that. So, and then we got to look at our Social Security. Trump signed those agreements on Saturday night. This bottom line will hit people who will collect Social Security because he's going to take the money from them. So all of this that we doing is a hot mess. It's time to pull back.
And we need to figure out and make sure we get the right people in front of these microphones because as Marguerite had said, no, the looters are not Black Lives Matter. But when you have one of the local organizers of Black Lives Matter saying I don't care if someone decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike store because that makes sure that that person eats. They ain't eating these shoes.
I mean, either.
You know,
And who you selling them to?
exactly. So
Who you
I'm not
selling them
giving
to?
credence to the looters at all. I mean, I'm a man of a certain age and a certain mindset. I'm not with the looting, but I know that people need to be heard. We just need to find a more effective way to be heard.
I don't know, because I guarantee you, I've seen a couple of ads where they are selling Yves Saint Laurent purses that are several $1,000 purses. Talking about these are Victoria's Secret purses for $30. Are you kidding me? You're not even getting the value of this. And then keep in mind, most of them high-end purses like that, they have a tracking system in them because these stores now, because of the robberies and the looting, they've put them high-end tracking systems in there, and they put them where they take them out when you go to purchase that item, and you've gone out with it, and who knows with what. So I don't know. So we'll see. I'm sure more of this will unfold. I just know one thing. They shouldn't be getting out of jail. Now, Maurice, before we run to Dr. Seabrook in just a minute, how did all this kick off anyway? I heard that really all of this looting was a result of miscommunication on social media, which I told y'all is the devil. It really does have some blessings to it, but it really is the devil when you think about it.
Okay, well, I'm just going to give you what I know, and this is not my opinion. This is what out there in the media and so on. There was a young man who was originally reported to be 15 years old, that was actually 20 years old, that was shot by the police department. Now, he told his mother that he didn't shoot at the police, but the police are saying that there was a gun found and he was shot in the shoulder and that kind of thing. So all this started on social media because when I saw it on social media, it says that the police shot a black boy in the face on 57 Aberdeen.
Yep.
In the face. Now they shot the boy in the face.
Yeah.
And and my whole thing, if the hood is out on social media broadcasting that this is what's going on and this is what we're about to do, why was it allowed to happen? But
because it spread so quick like wildfire. And again, the police probably, whoever does check that, they're not checking really good profiles. I have friends that are able to send me things split second about things that's getting ready to jump off. And the police, it's an hour or two later when they find out. They've got to have somebody that is street savvy that can judge those social media posts and profiles. I'm telling you, that's how it works. But go ahead.
Well, they're making I don't know how many thousands of red light cameras and gunshot camera, sirens and all this in the neighborhoods or what have you. But the police were unable to put a stop to all this that went on. But if you remember some years ago, we had the G7 summit here in Chicago, or It was some big promotion. And they went downtown and they controlled those people. They marched all over downtown. And there were more people doing that spread out than what happened the other night. So my thing is not saying anything against the Chicago Police Department because I know this was just an impossible thing to kind of deal with. But something I think could have been done to quell this thing. I mean, why raise the bridges after everything is gone? If you know something is going to jump off, raise the bridges before they get downtown.
That's right.
But that's just me, So
obviously, the city of Chicago and the bridge people have never seen those medieval movies. You know to raise the moat. You know to raise the moat. You know before them monkeys come around. Well, I don't want to say that because somebody got in trouble. But long story short, when they start running, raise the moat. Raise the moat. And that's what'll cut them off. All right. Well, enough on that. Enough on hot topics. Don't forget tomorrow evening, we're going to talk about who is Kamala Harris, the pros and cons of Kamala Harris. She has been announced to be our 2020 Democratic vice presidential candidate. She will be running with Joe Biden. My co-host tonight is Mr. Maurice Chef Mo. He's a great guy. He was here yesterday with us for our very special show, and he's back tonight as our co-host. And people are saying you're doing a good job, Mo, so I may have to use you quite a bit.
All right.
Don't forget, it's $24 for 2 days worth of pay.
All right.
All right. Well, let's bring in our next guest. As you guys all know, I said earlier today I was out shopping and I noticed parents that were in the school supply aisle. With me being a small business owner, this is the time of year that I stock up on all my supplies because everything is on sale. And so today I was in that aisle and parents were getting protractors and rulers. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a pandemic. Where are these kids going with these items? But I guess if you're at home learning, you would have to get these items. But then I heard the mom mention that the kid was going to be going back to school in 2 Mondays, I think it was, and physically going to a school is what she told her grandmother. And so here tonight to help us to understand back to school, COVID-19, a lot of the things that we need to know. We just love and adore her. She is the CEO of Community Health Net Health Centers located in Gary, Indiana. She's a noted family medicine practitioner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Our favorite, Dr. Janet Seabrook. Hey, Doc. Hey,
Hi,
Doc.
hi, how are you? It's so good to
How
see
you
you.
doing tonight?
I am doing well.
It's
How are
good to
you?
see you, Doc. Good. We need your volume to be up just a little bit. Can you take your volume up?
I sure can. Can you hear me now? What about that?
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
A little
wonderful.
bit more.
A little bit more? Okay.
Yes. How you doing tonight, Doc? You look great.
Thank you. I'm trying to be fancy. Last time it was a couple of months ago. You had headsets, so I said, I'm copycat daddy. I'm gonna get me a headset.
Well, now look, I done came out the headset, but
I
look,
see
Doc, you
that.
look like look, you look like Janet Jackson in her video. You just need a key hanging off your earring. That's what you look like tonight, Doc. What a
Well,
pleasure
thank
to
you.
have you back. Yes, you look well. Maurice is our co-host tonight, and he's the father of a college student, and he has a fifth grader. So he's really excited to hear what you have to say tonight about going back to school. Doc, we're gonna turn the floor over to you. Tell everybody about yourself, and then let's get into our discussion.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Janet and I'm a physician by trade, but I'm also the CEO and founder of Community Health Net Health Centers. We have 6 locations in Northwest Indiana, four locations in Gary, one in Hammond, and one in Maryville. And I'm just excited to be back on the show. It's been such a long time. So thank you so
I
much.
know. Yeah. So have you been cooking a lot this summer, Doc?
Cooking and pulling out the garden. Today I was able to pick some peppers. I made some jerk tilapia before I came
Ooh,
into the studio and sat and waited. I would peek my head out and ask my husband how it tasted, and he said it was great. So I have chili peppers from my garden, kale, regular lettuce, mixed greens, spinach. I've been putting spinach in my egg whites for my omelets. So I'm just
yes.
having the time right now. Yeah, cooking a lot, doing a lot of healthy cooking and enjoying
Good,
it.
very good. Very well. You're the queen of healthy cooking. We've got to do another cooking show together because I
That
just
was
love how
so
you, huh?
I said that was so much fun.
It
I had
was.
so
It
much
really was. I love you. I do. Well, Doc, let's get into our topic this evening. As you all know, we are now required to wear masks anytime we're out in public. Doc, I know you're over there in Northwest Indiana. I was over there about 3 weeks ago. And I was so petrified because people were walking around the store with no mask on, they coughing, doing all kind of things. And so now Indiana is requiring people to wear masks in public places. Illinois is requiring it. What's the latest update on the mask wearing situation, Doc?
So just from what I've seen in my travels locally, I've seen a lot of cooperation, wearing the mask in the grocery stores and other public places. I've also seen a lot of mass giveaways. We actually had what's called Northwest Indiana Mass for Northwest Indiana, and a lot of the sewers got together and picked up fabric, and they had it all cut out, and people could come and pick up fabric and make masks for the healthcare workers. And when that supply had gotten to be enough donated to all the hospitals in Northwest Indiana, they started making pediatric size masks as we got closer to children going back to school. So it's really been a community. why I think you're your customer channel is good that when the time came to wrap it up, that you were able to do that.
Okay, for some reason we losing sound with you. We uh-oh. Now you muted. Okay. All right. Can you hear us better now?
Yes.
Oh, we hear you much better anyway. Take the headset off.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
yeah. All right. So,
you can't hear me.
Oh, we can. We can hear you. Can you hear us? All right. So, Doc, how are we going to be able to tell these little children that they need to keep these masks on all day in school? You know, little children have attention deficit disorder. It's a lot of things, and you trying to tell a 5-year-old that he or she must keep a mask on all day. How's that going to work?
So it's going to be a little bit challenging with the little ones to be able to keep them all day. And so what some schools have determined is that the proximity is less than 6 feet in the classroom, that they'll have the children with the mask on. They will be able to take the mask off when they're outside, to go outside. So there will be frequent times when they're able to take the mask off, like when they are eating their breakfast, their lunch at the school. So I think that there's going to be some opportunities, but with smaller children, sometimes you have to turn things into a game to make them feel comfortable about doing that. And there's a thing that they do in Montessori school. It's called Learn by Play, and I think that some of that may have to be adapted for children who are younger than 5 years old. But what the CDC is saying is 8 and above that have to wear the mask in the school.
Okay.
If
All right. Is that the same rule here in Illinois? Huh.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out, is that our same rule here in Illinois? Maybe it is. No, because I think it's younger for children here in Illinois, but still, I know in Indiana it's children 8 and up.
Yes, for us here in Indiana. And so that's encouraging because we know that it is difficult for children. My suggestion would be for children who are under the age of 8, and that is the school's mandate or the state's mandate, that they would look at kind of inventive ways to make a game out of it or make play out of it for those children to continue to wear the mask. You might even have to say, whoever wears their mask until the hands get on 12 is going to get a treat or something special. So just making a game out of it so that the students will be more cooperative. And then I think that more colorful masks are something that catches children's eye as well. And one of the things that we're doing is in our back to school backpacks, we're having a coloring contest. So it is actually a page that has a mask on it on paper. And so you're able to take different crayons and mask coloring contest. And then we're going to give out prizes to the students who send in the best colored mask to the health center.
Oh, I love it. I think that's amazing. Doc, I want to talk about hand sanitizer. There's been a lot of rumors about a certain alcohol level in the hand sanitizers. How effective is hand sanitizer? I'm addicted to it now. I have sanitizer that's made of gin. I have, all kind of just sanitizers. What's the deal with that sanitizer and what is it doing to us? I know it's tearing up my cuticles.
So with sanitizers, you want to use a sanitizer that has 65%, 75% or above the alcohol level in it, because that's going to help to kill the virus. What you want to be careful of, and a few months ago, there was some warning. Have critical situations, there are going to be people that are going to try and take advantage of it. So there were some illegal activity, black market activity with hand sanitizers, that people place methanol instead of alcohol in the sanitizer formulation, and it was causing severe burns to people's hands. And so that warning went out a few weeks ago to make sure that people did not have any hand sanitizer that contained methanol. So from a reputable place, and that you're looking at the ingredient contents. Be very skeptical if there's not an ingredient label on the product that you're purchasing. But hand sanitizer, 65%, 75% above alcohol content is very good, and that's what we want for people to sanitize their hands. But you and I have both talked about this before. The best thing is soap and water. You know, wash your hands as quickly as possible. And then once you wash your hands, use hand sanitizer if you just wash your hands.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Nothing beats washing your hands. We want to remind everyone, wash your hands as often as possible. Continue to wear your mask and sanitize when you can. I know every time I get in and out the vehicle, I sanitize, I use alcohol pads, all of that. All right, doctor, I want to continue on with ask questions, things about how are the children's schools going to be set up? Because again, most classrooms are 32 children usually, or about that number. And now you can't have a classroom full. So how do the parents, do they go do a tour, an open house, or how will parents make that decision if that classroom is right?
So one of the things that we're advising is that parents will reach out to the school district, having virtual meetings or in-person meetings to have these conversations. And if they are having virtual meetings, will there be someone there to walk around with a camera to show examples of how those classrooms are going to look when students are returned? Will there be hand sanitizer and the sanitizer wipes available at the school? Will I have to send a pack of those things to my student? Will there be masks available if my child forgets his mask, or my child's mask gets damaged, or it falls on the floor and gets dirty? So those are the questions that parents would need to ask. What is going to happen if someone is in the school building that ends up testing positive? What are the steps? Are the classrooms going to be spaced out? How many students are going to be in the class? There's some school districts of students in pods, meaning that only 6 to 10 students will be in each classroom. What is that going to look like? So these are the questions that a parent or parents would need to ask the leaders in their school district as to what are going to be the procedures and protocols to return into the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Because, World News Tonight, just before I came on the air with you all, they were talking about the numbers have increased in Florida. The numbers have increased in Georgia. Most of those young people are back in school. And then they gave like an alarming number of now even younger people. Last week, we reported on this show, 20 to 29-year-olds were off the Richter scale with COVID-19. But now school-age children are coming down with COVID. And then there's something rare about even younger children. Doc, this is all mind-boggling. Where are you with this whole, children in COVID as far as their numbers?
So what's going on right now with children in COVID-19, as we start to learn more about it and how it affects children, we're going to be able to better diagnose, to better treat those children. But because of the lack of knowledge of this virus when it initially came over to the United States, and the people that it was affecting at that time, older people, the focus was on the older population of people, and people really thought it was really too early to say that this disease is only affecting older people or people with compromised immune systems. I think that we got a little bit ahead of ourselves and started to focus on the population without looking at the broader aspect or potential of what this disease would do in the entire population, and not just focusing on our older population. So I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves and then got focused on one population and not looked at generation by generation.
I couldn't agree more. Before we close out the segment and continue to talk, because there's another point that we need to bring up as well too about talking to your child. Maurice, is there a question that you'd have for the doctor, and then we'll let her close out with talking to your children about their choice and their decision? I know a lot of parents may want to get back to work and all that, but you might have a child that's just paranoid about going back to school. Maurice, question?
Yeah, Doc, how do you help your children navigate through this whole thing as far as the hand washing and the mask? Because my daughter is 10 years old and she's watched CNN like one time too many, and now she's almost a borderline germaphobe. I mean, she's spraying down doorknobs and, stressing about it and this, that, and the other. And I want her to be mindful of what she needs to do. I just don't want her to be terrified to go out of the house.
So one of the things that I like to tell people is before coronavirus, we were exposed to infectious diseases all the time. We ride on the subway, we ride on planes, trains, buses, automobiles, and people diseases, and we're sitting right there next to them, and we have no idea. People come into medical offices to get treated for TB and diagnosed. They are in the hospital with TB. Of course, when we know what the infectious disease is, we isolate them. Children get chickenpox, adults get shingles. So we have these infectious diseases. So we need to think about, we have flu. Flu is an infectious disease, influenza. And we have that flu season that comes up, and we seem to deal with that. But again, this is because COVID-19 is an unknown and novel coronavirus, and it's new to our body and new to our system. So I would say to you as a parent that you do want to encourage your child to be careful and to take care of making sure that he or she is washing their hands and they're doing things that they need to do to be safe, but also be realistic that this is something that eventually a vaccine will come out for, and that just like the flu, and our body will also develop some ability to have immunity to it. Think about the flu season. Everybody in the whole world does not get flu. Mm-hmm. So as our bodies learn this novel coronavirus, we will begin to develop what they call herd immunity as we bring the vaccine on board. So I would say to you, ask your daughter to take it down a notch. Give her that education that she needs about being careful, but let her know that that's a part of being safe and being careful for any infectious disease. It's so prominent because children are just hearing it 24/7. Mm-hmm. But there are other infectious diseases. That's what they get vaccinated for. All of those vaccinations that they receive from the time that they're born in the hospital until they turn 20, 21 when they're in college, those are to prevent infectious diseases. So this is an infectious disease that we're trying to come up with a vaccine for that may be added to the panel of vaccines that children are now currently receiving.
Wow. That's powerful. Did she answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Let me say this, Maurice. Doc said to tell your daughter to dial it back a little bit. I said, oh, Lord, that's a whole nother lesson right there. Just trying to, a dear friend of mine, this was about 2 years ago. She said, Chat, I think my daughter has become a hypochondriac. She said, I hate to put it on my child, and I hate to say that. But, again, like the doctor said, our young people are so exposed to this, and this is all new for us, new for them. They've not been able to see their friends, go to parties, sleepovers, anything that a young man or a young lady would do at your daughter's age. All of that has been squashed. Has she actually physically seen any of her friends this year? Have you allowed any play dates or, oh my God, you kidding me?
Well, she's had one play date with her cousin.
Okay.
But we made sure we took temperatures and all those kind of things and, that kind of thing. But it's like this. We're not trying to risk anything until we get a better hold on this, that kind of thing. And I just wanted her to calm down because I have allergies and I sneezed one day and she almost had a fit. Right. She's like, oh, Lord, Dad. I'm like, no, Daddy this is allergy. It's a high pollen day, baby. I'm good. Those kind of things. So I just thank you, for the information, and I'll try to get her just to take it down just a bit.
Dr. Seabrook, isn't that something? Isn't that right? That's something. Hey, Doc, is there a safe way to have a play date? We've kind of talked about, like people won't have family reunions this year. That's all being done via Zoom. Is there really a safe way? He said take temperature, that type of thing. What recommendations would you give on a safe play date of maybe 1 or 2 children together?
So all of those things that we just talked about, bringing children back to school, if you're going to do that, you're going to make sure if it's going to be connected, everything, checked the temperatures. You want to keep it within the nuclear family. If you have family members that are close and have children, the age of your children, then you would say that it's okay and do what you did, take the temperatures, do the mask, because you know that they're not going to social distance, and have them outside if it's warm enough. If the temperature, outside is comfortable enough for them to be outside, then that definitely would be better. And if they're going to have their mask off when they're eating, to make sure that that space and that social distancing is there. You can do safe visits with a limited number of people, 1 to 2. It's the larger crowds, and people tend, as we gather, and we're becoming more social, laughing. We haven't seen people in a while. We start to get where the issues start to come about. So it can be done safely with, 1 or 2 children, and making sure that if they're going to be playing together, that they're doing sports, maybe kickball or catch and things like that, where they don't have to have that close space. And just monitoring that, but then not getting overly excited if they do happen to bump into each other or run into each other or hug each other, as long as they have their mask on.
Right.
Maurice, you'll be running around talking about, oh, Lord, y'all got the cooties now. Oh, no. Right. Put that mask on. Very good. That's how you do that. Mask up. Absolutely. Well, Dr. Janet Seabrook, you've done a great job as always. Your people at Community Health Network, they love you, Doc. They love you. We love Dr. Seabrook as well, too. Doctor, tell people how they can find you, follow you, more information and all that great stuff. I just put it up here on the screen as well, too. But give us your closing thoughts. We love when you come hang out with us.
Well, I will say to everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, because your health does matter, particularly in this time of COVID-19. Mask up, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, social distance. You can follow me at drjanetseabrook.com. That's my website. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, everything. So you can just go and search Seabrook, and you'll find me on all social media pages. I also want to remind everybody that on September 26th, that's the last Saturday in September, we're still going to have our annual breast cancer walk. We're going to do it a hybrid. So we're going to have a virtual walk, as well as some of our staff will be out there socially distanced doing the breast cancer walk. So that's Saturday, September 26th, around a beautiful lake in Marquette in Gary, Indiana. You can call 219-880-1110. That's for
all right. Well, Dr. Janet Seabrook, we love you. We appreciate you so much. Don't be a stranger. Come back and hang out with me again real soon. And you look great. I like your summer hair. You doing curly too, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I see. You look
it's
good.
On me. I like it. At first I was like, but yeah, I like it.
It looks good. It looks good on you. As I said, when you had that headset on, I thought Janet Jackson was sitting there. I don't know, Doc. I thought maybe it was Janet Jackson tonight. You know what I'm saying? You look great. Well, Maurice, anything in closing you want to say to Dr. Seabrook?
Doc, stay safe. Thank you for all the hard work that you guys do helping the community. And thank you for the information for my daughter. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, Maurice. Good to see you tonight.
All right, Doctor. I hope to get back in the kitchen with you once all this is over so we can cook some more great food. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. Tell everybody I said hello.
Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Janet Seabrook, CEO of Community Health Network, located in Northwest Indiana. One of our favorite doctors who stop by and talk to us all the time. For those of you that are just tuning in, welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Chat Daddy Show. I am he is I, and glad to be here with you guys. For all of you all that are having power outages, I am so sorry. We had at least 6 tornadoes touch down in the Chicagoland area yesterday. Heavy rains. Maurice, even up in Rogers Park, it was almost like somebody was coming through whacking trees down on the blocks. I mean, it was trees just everywhere, brother. And earlier today, there were 388,000 people in the Chicagoland area that was without power. And so hopefully they'll get it back together. And they're telling a lot of these people that it will not come back on until Saturday.
There's some spots in the city that are without power, because I've had some friends who, like, you have lights. I'm like, yeah, and it goes kind of like a block by block thing in some areas. Some folks have lights, some folks don't, and it's going to be really, really warm this week. So I hope that they get it on sooner rather than later.
Right. And then, I think about people. I'm a deep freezer person. I keep things in the freezer. When it's on sale, I buy it. I put it in the freezer. This is ice cream season. Let's think about things in your refrigerator. You want a cool beverage. People can't watch me unless, they're on their smartphone or whatever. But we're looking at the Wi-Fi being out, everything. So our thoughts and prayers go out to all of you all. There are people just a few blocks from me that are, without power. And we hope that they get the power back. All right, well, Maurice, let's talk about tomorrow night's show. And then we have an amazing guest who's going to close our show out tonight. This gentleman is just phenomenal. I was watching his videos again today, and his energy is infectious. So I just hope he brings that kind of, oh, yeah, he's in the green room. I see him now. Oh, yeah, he's ready to pump it up. All right. So coming up on the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show, as you guys all know, today, Joe Biden, who's the Democratic candidate for president for 2020, he announced his running mate, who is Kamala Harris. Well, tomorrow night, Alicia L. Ross will serve as my guest co-host, but we'll also talk about who is Kamala Harris, the pros and cons of Kamala. We're going to talk about her career, where she's from, who she is, all of that stuff, so that we're well informed about our 2020 Democratic vice presidential candidate who was selected today. And then also, how many of you have young people that may be going off to college next year or the year after? So that means you have a senior who's going to be starting their senior year, or a junior. We have a mother and an educator who'll be here tomorrow night, who will share her tricks and secrets of how she navigated her way through the entire college selecting process with her daughter. Everything from financial aid, everything on how to research schools, all of that. She's going to share it tomorrow night, and she has a wonderful presentation. So if you have a high school junior or senior, or anybody in high school, tomorrow night's show, you definitely want to tune in and watch it. All right, Maurice, how you doing over there?
Doing great, sir. Doing great.
Are you? I know you're excited about our next guest tonight.
Absolutely. Because, we were just talking about what led me to go into business after being in different industries and so on. So I'm really interested to find out, what this gentleman's story is, because you're right. He did seem very excited on the information that you shared with me.
Oh, he's going to be a ball of energy. I already know that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you have lost your jobs due to this pandemic, and you must learn to pivot. You must learn to go in a different direction. So tonight I have a real treat for you guys. We have business and workplace consultant. I'll give you his name in just a second. He's written a wonderful book entitled Superpower: Lessons Learned in a Magic Kingdom. He spent 25 years working at the Walt Disney Company. He designed their customer service and training programs for the Disney resorts. And so, as you guys all know, Disney is the happiest place on earth. So if you bitter, mad, and upset, you cannot take that to work with you. You cannot. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome business and workplace consultant, Mr. Louie, and I'm going to get this last name correct, Gravance. I think I got it right. Let's see if I did. Did I butcher it, Louie?
No, it was even better than right because you hit the French part. So that was
Yay!
So it was even better. You went for it all the way, and yeah, you scored.
Oh, I
I'm
love
glad
you.
to be
I
with
do.
you guys. How are you doing?
Hey.
Wonderful. We are so glad to see you this evening. When I first received your information and I did my research on you, just your energy is incredible. I just love it. I'm a former flight attendant, so I understand everybody must be trained the same way. I actually missed that from my years of being a flight attendant. Maurice is a gentleman who has had many different careers, but he also has started a food truck business and he's had his struggles. So we both are excited to hear what you have to say. So please introduce yourself to the audience and then let's get into this lesson tonight.
Woo! I'm glad to be here. You know what? For years, I was involved with the training at the Disney Institute and the Disney University for new hires. When you came on to be a hire at the parks, I was at Bazooka Pixie Dust. They came at you the first day. And then later on, I ended up consulting for businesses that would come visit about how they could create, service programs. And then I left Disney, and for a while, I was a part-time pastor and a teacher of A Course in Miracles. And I thought, how could I put these two things together? How can I help people utilize the same principles that a business would use to be successful on a personal level, to give and realize that service is a superpower? That's what I wanted to do. Exactly what happened to me. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to lose everything to figure that out. But I wanted to share that with folks the same way I shared it with all new Disney folk.
You know what? I love that. Now, I almost need to have you back on the show to talk about the miracles. I'm a person who I believe in miracles. I believe that, things happen the way they do, and that's what makes the miracle. So I think all of this is great. So go right ahead.
No, a good example is, so I was a child actor until I became too hairy to be one, which was like 24. And I was doing a Mattel toy commercial with these other guys. And the director calls me over and he goes, "We have to shave your hands because when all of you put your hands in, it looks like three kids in a Hobbit put their hands in." And that was when my career as playing a kid ended. And I had nothing. And I realized I was a punk. I was a self-entitled punk. And then I became a waiter. And I didn't have any waiting skills. And I thought, oh, no, I'm going to be so busted in no time because I don't have waiting skills. So I thought, you know what? I better act like I work at Disneyland. And then I'll be so nice that nobody will bag me for not having waiting skills. And it worked. And then after 3 years of acting like I worked at Disneyland, I get this call out of nowhere going, "Hey, this is going to be weird, but do you want to come work at Disneyland? They're looking for a little comic. They're looking for you to be a singing mortician outside of the Haunted Mansion who's going to entertain guests while they're waiting to get into that ride." And one thing led to another, and I served and I served and I served, and excellence will always seek and find other excellence, which is what I want people watching tonight to know that have lost everything or in this weird position. That giving will always come back to you. All that is given to yourself. Like you last night, chat, did not have to do a show.
Right.
You didn't.
Right.
You didn't have to do a show. You came in to do a show because that's what your spirit told you to do. Something called you to give something more than you normally had to give. And I would guess that at the end of it, you felt something different than you did at the beginning. You were more powerful. You were more powerful than you were at the beginning. And that's what I want people to know. With every time you exceed a customer's expectations, you exceed your own and you start moving it forward. And right now we're all in it. We all got to lift ourselves up. We got to lift ourselves up because nobody's going to do it for us. So we've got to realize what is our intention. Just like Disney sells happiness, what do you sell? What is the emotional core component of what you sell?
Yeah, but we live in a world now where, I consider myself a very happy guy, have always been a very happy guy, but we live in a world now where people look at folks like us as an oddity, almost as if something is wrong. And then customer service has gone to hell in a handbasket. Like, I almost want to invite you to Chicago and just have you go around with me everywhere just to help my experience to be better. And so, the Disney magic is one thing, but how do we relate that to everyday people?
The first thing we have to realize is that we never know where our customers have just come from, and we don't know where they're going. we just got now. One Christmas, they made me play a Christmas elf in front of a huge Christmas tree, and it was my job to hold the crowd until Santa Goofy and his reindeer could get there. And it was weird, and I'm in green tights, and I'm sweating, and Bing Crosby's like, and a lip going, oh, and it was very surreal. And for some reason, I look out, and I notice this lady who I never saw before, I didn't know. And I saw how much her kids, they both seemed about 19, 20, loved their mom. I noticed it. And so I'm listening to Bing Crosby sing, and it's weird, it's hot, and there's fake snow coming down. And for some reason, I looked at this lady and I went, you must be a great mom. And then she looked at me and she started to cry, and I thought, oh no. And I just made the lady cry dressed like an elf. I'm so in trouble. And then I left and I said, I just made this lady cry while I was dressed like an elf, and I'm really, really sorry. And then the next day she found me. She goes, una photo. I didn't know that she didn't speak English. She was from Cuba. Oh. And she has a picture taken with me. And I look at her and I go, your sons love you very much. Most guys this age, they'd be somewhere else, but these guys want to be with you. You must be a great mom. And then she looked at me and she started to cry. And I didn't know that she'd just lost her father.
Oh, and wow.
She writes a letter to Michael Eisner, who said, I paid for that trip in advance and I took my boys. And this elf walks up. I had just told my sons I was going to leave and take the bus back to Miami because I was too upset listening to Bing Crosby sing about Christmas. And then this magical little elf, I know that sounds gross, came and reminded me of what I had to be thankful for. Now, I would never have known that. And what I want you to know is people are doing that in your hemisphere. You think nobody's noticing. You just mentioned that nobody's noticing, but they are. They are. The thing is we can't see it in the short term, but we don't know who just walked by. We don't. When was the last time you stopped and thought about who was helped because of the show you did tonight? When was the last time you sat and you thought, I've made somebody's life better? We don't do that. We are not trained to stop and do that and take the honor that there is in serving other people. And right now, we've got to take one customer, one person at a time. And for those of us who've lost our jobs, we can't think of ourselves as having to find a gig. We have to think of ourselves as solving somebody else's problem. Nobody's looking to hire somebody for a job, but they're certainly looking for people to solve their problems.
You know what? You might be right about that. I think you might. I've talked to several people who have said that they've, during this time period, have become consultants on certain things, have become advisors on certain things. Look at what I did. I went from one situation to continuing to get my message out. Who knew that this would be my new form of getting the message out to people every day? Why do we have a hard time accepting ourselves as entrepreneurs, as the boss, as the leader? I was noticing in the notes, that was one of the things. Maurice, with your business, struggling, still have to say, black man, got to make them dollars, do what I need to do. But really, you're the boss and entrepreneur. But, we both know if the money's not coming in, you just feel like an everyday regular guy, right?
Yes. I mean, we're at the mercy of our customers, whoever that customer may be. And like he said, making sure that we can fulfill that need. Because when COVID hit, my truck business did slow down because, we just weren't doing that. But I've also had customers who call me to do catering opportunities because they're tired of cooking and they don't want to go to other restaurants and they like my food. So as he said, I'm still solving that problem for them. And the thing that I've noticed when I first got started was, you have that trepidation, you have that fear and this, that, and the other. But once you slow down and you become very present to what you're doing with each customer, it makes it better because the grind is going to be the same, but each customer interaction is going to be different because now they look forward to seeing you because there are 1,000 places they could go, but they're looking for you to serve them.
See, Maurice just isolated the difference between a task and a job. A task involves all kinds of little things we do, but a job is story related. I worked with a lady, she trained me to make pizza behind Tomorrowland so I would know how it worked. She made thousands of pizzas and no guest ever saw her. And she saw me messing up and she went, honey, baby, you got to get that cheese all the way around that pizza or it ain't going to be a good show for my guests. She knew that her task was to make pizza, but her job was to create a magical memories for her guests. That's the difference between task thinking and job thinking. And remember, in any job, the guest or the customer is Luke Skywalker and you're Yoda. That's all you got to know. The customer is Luke Skywalker and or Princess Leia, and you're Yoda.
Absolutely. Because we tell a story on how we conduct business, because people can understand if you're there for yourself or if you're there for them. People hate to be sold, but they love to buy things, that kind of situation. So if you're making a connection with your customer and you're talking to them and you know that this person likes their dishes a certain way, this
Right.
person has health concerns, and you do that little extra for them, they appreciate that.
Right. And that's why I'm saying people now, like, for example, in your business, you know who the people that you see all the time are. And now that it's so relationship oriented, we need to use this device. And I'm telling companies, medium size, small, go to your super fans and tell them how much that you miss them in a way that they will share that on social media. Let your good customers be advocates, evangelists for your brand. And the thing we can do now when we don't know what to do, contact the customers who we've pleased the most in the past and let them know that we're thinking about them. That's the best thing that we can do right now. And in a way where they'd like to go, you know what, I'd like to share this with other people to show people how cool this is, that this guy who has this business is letting me know that he misses me.
Yep, absolutely.
Did we lose chat?
No, he's still. Wait. Art? Well, Art may be having some technical difficulties, but he'll be right back with us. But let me ask you this: one of my first jobs when I was much younger, my boss told me I want this thing to be McDonald's efficient and Disneyland clean. And I was like, what does he mean by that? But then when you go there to Disneyland and you have the experience and you see how everything is thoughtfully in place, you can just throw things together. It can be clean, but when things are thoughtfully done, it makes an impression on the people that are there because they want to be part of that experience. They are enjoying it. It's, there's nothing, because there's always that one person that's going to dissect everything. Well, this wasn't right or that wasn't right. But when you go somewhere and everyone is smiling, everyone is engaged with the customers, looking to serve them, that is the kind of experience that they want to come back, because Disneyland is not cheap.
No. Magic is not a bargain. Pixie dust is not. Pixie dust, your credit card might melt, making a magical memory. But to your point, I think you're commenting on the consistency that has to be there all the time. And one of the things I comment on the book, Safety is Services is Superpower, is how when somebody starts at a day, starts their first day at Disney, no matter what they learn, they're going to walk away knowing 4 words: safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. So that no matter what department you're in and you have to explain what just happened, everybody has those 4 words to use as a guideline so that each department can speak to each other about. There's a matrix of thinking about how we problem solve for our guests, and those 4 words are vitally important. That's what helps cause the consistency that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you talk to, I'm sure you talk to business owners of different experiences, like first year, 10 years and down the road or what have you. How do you get them to relate to the enthusiasm that you have? Because that's infectious. When you have a certain enthusiasm and a spark about what you're doing, how do you get them to tap into that?
Okay, you know what shocks me about most medium and small businesses, Maurice, is that they don't do what Disney does, and that they never share their story. If I go to a medium business and I meet somebody that works there, I'm always shocked when they cannot tell me why that business started, what the best day was, what the worst day was. They can't tell me anything about the owner. And that's one of the things that I think cheats the story process, that people aren't willing to share with their employees what's at stake. They don't invite them into the narrative that they're all sort of explaining together. So I encourage people to do, for example, my first consulting gig was for Bank of America, who said, we want you to write a training program like Disney's. And so I started doing some digging into their company, and I had no idea that it was started by a man who wouldn't give you a loan unless he saw the calluses on your hands and he knew that you worked. They didn't know any of that. And I'm amazed at how many people work for a small business and they don't know anything about the people they work for. And the people they work for have not bothered to say, this is who I am, this is the story you're joining. I'm shocked about that.
Well, the thing that it doesn't kill me, it just shocked me when you see other people, even in the same business that you're in, the same line. I don't look at people as competition, because they're doing their thing and I'm doing my thing. And I think that, we should all be human beings, and, what is for you is for you, and no one can take that away from you. And there's enough negativity and there are enough things that are going to happen during your day that you need to worry about than beating the other guy. Now, my whole thing was, I had to really get myself together, was I took the joy out of it initially because I was so hard on myself. If I made the smallest error, if I ran 5 minutes late or what have you. So this thing that I left a job for was now becoming a grind. And that was coming across because one of my customers asked me, like, are you okay? And I had to get myself together because what I was going on internally was coming across to my customer. And that was a real eye-opener for me, is that I did this for a reason. And my why has to be front of mind for me every day when I go out.
Your purpose, your intention. Yep. The first skill of the service superhero is serving with intention. And when we lose sight of that intention, that's when it becomes a task and not a job anymore. And you know what, to your other point about competition and not seeing other people as taking away from you, a great example of that is the way that Disney and Universal work here in Orlando. Each keep the other honest. Right. Each keep the other striving. Do you know what I mean? And they do it in a slightly different way. They have their own flavor to it. But exactly what you're talking about, the competition actually makes both sides better.
Well, Art talks a lot about customer service with his callers and with his guests that he has on the show. And what we found is we all want a big thing, not now, but is always a conversation of patronizing like minority businesses or small mom and pop shops and that kind of thing. And when you go in some of these locations, the customer service is terrible. Most times because the product is great and they know you're going to come back, but the customer experience is horrible. How, as a consumer, do we get that across to the business owner, and how would you get this across to the folks that you be sitting down with that own that particular company?
Well, sadly, one of the things that does that is what we're going through right now, which is a shared context. Not since 9/11 have we had such a shared context, because so much is going on at once, that has changed the context for everybody, so that no one anymore can go, not even Disney can go, we do this better than anybody, so you're going to show up.
Right.
That's not even going to work for them at this point. We all now have a shared context that we have to change our point of view in our storytelling, both not just because of the pandemic, but because of the social change that's going on at the same time. That's why I say in our language, we have to be looking, one of the things that there's always story, language, behavior recognition. We have to be looking at the way we're telling our story. What language are we using? Are we showing bias that we don't even know that we have? Are we, we've all have to listen to each other and pay attention to the way that we're telling our stories to each other, because lexicon becomes legacy.
Right. Now, has your why changed over the years, or is your why still the same from day one?
That's really, I think this is what's interesting. I think my why has kind of been the same since I was a kid. And any time that I've gotten off the track was when I forgot that, My job is a catalyst. That's, some of us, that's what our gig is.
Well, and a lot of times when I've tried to talk to people who've called me, because now they've seen me take that leap, so now I'm the expert in this thing. And I have to tell them, I'm not an expert. I can tell you what not to do. I can't really tell you what to do, but I can definitely tell you what you don't want to do to be successful in this business or anything else. But I give myself enough room to grow, to be coachable, to do new things with my business. And that's very hard to get across to some folks who may be more successful, because one of my mentors told me something that really impacted me. He said, "What are the last 7 words of a dying business?" I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "We've never done it that way before." So and so that lets me know that it needs to be fluid, because right now we're heading towards we're actually in a new normal right now. Because on the other side of this COVID thing, and when the things open back up, we have to do things differently than we did on the other side of this. And loving each other and that kind of thing has to be up there.
I always say that everybody needs, and I think this is maybe what you need, Maurice, is what I call a reconnection memory. That thing that puts, when you're talking about when you're like, oh, what am I doing? And maybe my guests, my customers can see that I'm overwhelmed by this. What reconnection memory do you have that will put you in the head of your customer so that their eyes are the lens of the camera filming your movie? It's like when you work at Disney and kids throw pennies at you and you're hot and you're sweaty. What reconnection memory do you have that will put you back in a 7-year-old's head and see you for the first time? Everybody's got a reconnection memory where they've exceeded somebody's expectations and they were like, that was the perfect service moment. That's the one. And if you've done it once, you can do it again. And if you've done it again, you can teach it. And as it says in A Course in Miracles, if you can teach it, you can learn it forever, because we learn what we teach.
Now, I just got a text message from Art. I'm taking over the Chat Daddy show right now because Art, his Wi-Fi went out.
Oh, wow.
Right. So for right now, it is you and I. We have taken over the government. We're in control right now.
Oh, no.
Now, let me ask you this. I know
are you going to go rogue, Maurice, or are you going to go completely?
I'm changing a couple of things around here. So
Okay.
get some new drapes, new curtains, better camera. But no, I know you have the book. Do you ever do, like, say, corporate trainings or groups or that kind of thing?
Well, actually, that's the egg and this is the chicken, because what I've done for years is I've done power talks, and I've traveled all over the world, and people go, hey, how come you don't have a book? How come you don't have a book? And my agents are like, how come you don't have a book? And as it turns out, writing a book is really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you have, attention deficit like me. So it took a long time, but I was a speaker and a consultant for other industries for almost 20 years off and on. And then I go back to Disney or do other things. And so it took me, and then once I realized, again, the intention of why I was writing the book, which was, it wasn't for HR folks, it was for front-line service providers to remember what they were being. Okay. And I wrote a lot about working from home, not knowing what was coming. And everybody talks about working from home like it's an easy thing to do. There's an art to working. It took me 3 tries.
Really?
To be successful. No, because I would, and even if I was successful, I was not able to create structure. And so I'd start to weave and wobble, and then I'd need to go back to a company where I would recreate structure. And it was really the 3rd time that I learned the rules. And one of them is, if you're going to work professionally from home, you have to dress professionally while you do it from home. And you don't want to. People don't want to do that. But not only does it put your head in a space, but we got kids home now, and we got family home.
Man.
God, wait. Okay, so you guys are not going to believe. Maurice, did you explain what happened?
Yes, I did.
I never in a million years, my Wi-Fi has gone out again. And I felt so bad. I've emailed you everything because, Maurice, you've done an outstanding job. That's what everybody is telling me. Louie, I love you too, Louie. You've got to come back and hang out with us. But never in a million years did I think I'd be put off my own show. Clutch my pearls. Clutch my pearls.
My reign is over.
That's all right. You did a great. Everybody's like, you're doing a great job. I'm like, oh my God. And I said, well, maybe I can log in on my phone. This is crazy. So, what did we cover, gentlemen?
We covered the why, and he can tell you exactly what he covered.
Yeah, we covered the intention, the power of intention, that all service comes back to you, and that we learn what we teach. We learn what we teach. That's from A Course in Miracles chat. We learn what we teach. And I'm trying to bring the power of good to business. That's my mission in life, is bringing the power of good to business.
I agree. I love it. I think it's a beautiful thing. I really do. Will you come back just for me one evening?
And let's just talk about A Course in Miracles, or whatever you are, the book, or what you're doing.
I cannot wait to have you back. I've emailed you. When we get off, check it. I would love to have you back again. Do me a favor. Tell everybody how they can get your book, how they can find you. Absolutely. How long did it take you to put the book together?
Well, that's what we were talking about. Maurice, okay, it took 20 years to get ready to do it and 1 year to actually do it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was surprised how hard it was to write a book, chat.
It is. It's not easy. I've been working on it for years. And you don't want to step on toes. You don't want to reveal the wrong things. And you do want to stay positive when you write a book.
Yes, and honest.
Yes, and honest. So how can we get your book, my friend?
The easiest place right now, and they've got it on sale, is on Amazon. Right now, Amazon, it's Service is a Superpower, Lessons Learned in a Magic Kingdom.
Wait a minute. I laid it out on the wrong person. All right. Say it again for me.
It is on Amazon. Service is a Superpower, Lessons Learned in a Magic Kingdom.
Beautiful. And how can we find you via the web?
Just www.greatkeynotespeaker.com. Greatkeynotespeaker.com. I own it. I'm the only one.
Very good. All right. Well, we appreciate you so much. It's been nothing but a pleasure. Maurice, anything in closing you want to say to this gentleman?
Thank you for the nuggets. I was taking notes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the magic.
Thank you so very much. God bless and have a good night. We hope to have you back again soon.
You too.
All right. Beautiful. Yay.
Bye.
I love it. I love it. I do. That was a great guest. Maurice, I never in a million years would you have told me this would have happened. Never. Thank God I'm able to recoup and be here on my phone. Hopefully we can do tomorrow night's show because I'm so tiny on this telephone. Maurice, you've done an outstanding job, my friend. You really, really did. In closing, what do you want to say now? Will you come back and do this again?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Good.
And, yep. So I had a great time, man. I appreciate you having me.
How can people find out about your wonderful food?
Right now, we're taking orders at 773-764. What's it? 6441. Or my website will be up in a couple of weeks, and it's Big Mo on the Go. And you can follow me on Facebook at Big Mo on the Go as well.
All right. All right. Well, brother, I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for being so patient tonight. I have no idea what happened, but as you guys all know, we've had storms here in the Chicagoland area. My Wi-Fi was working just perfect. Now it's not working at all, and I need to figure this situation out. Fingers crossed. We'll be back tomorrow night with the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. Do me a favor. Please go over to YouTube and subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show right there on YouTube. There's also a page on Facebook, the Real Chat Daddy Show. Like that page. You can always do encore performances of each show from those pages. Just share them, start a watch party. I really do appreciate you guys. For more information about me, it's therealchatdaddy.com. Go right over there, get whatever information you need, find out more about me. Join the Chat Daddy Brigade. Yes, sir.
I did want to say one thing.
Sure.
And it's not so much a personal plug, but I'm a part of an organization called the Illinois Black Voter Initiative.
Yes.
And we are also on Facebook and some other places. But what we do is we are trying our best to get as many of our people registered to vote we were trying to get them educated on what the process is, and not just going in and just casting a ballot and just throwing something down the sidewalk, knowing who you're voting for and becoming part of the process. So if you can please look us up on Facebook, it's the Illinois Black Voter Initiative. And there's another great organization I'm a part of called Project Higher Ed. And you've had us on the old show before with our executive director, Valita. So other than my children and my family, those are two things near and dear to my heart.
Okay, well, we've got to continue to talk about those things that's near and dear to your heart. Anything that was on the old show can definitely now be on the new show. So we have to book those guests again so we can get that message out there, because it's important that we vote. November 3rd, we've got to make a difference. Whether you like the candidates or not, we've got to make a difference November 3rd. All right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, on behalf of my co-host tonight, the amazing Mr. Maurice Miles, you guys are really loving him. I've got a lot of great text messages about his presence with me on the show tonight. He did do a phenomenal job. Thank you to all of our guests tonight. Dr. Janice Seabrook, I can't say it. I'm tongue-tied at this point. And Mr. Louie Gravance. Gravance, yes, French, very French. He did an outstanding job. We just love him. His energy is incredible. I apologize about the technical difficulties, but you guys already know it's the new world that we live in. If nothing else, I was able to recover and come back and close out the show. I was on the phone with Maurice, like, y'all still on? He was like, yeah, we talking. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So this is my Wi-Fi that's acting a fool now. Okay, so this is another issue that we dealt with not too long ago. All right. I love you guys so very much. Have a wonderful night. Don't forget to go to therealchatdaddy.com. Maurice, where's your mask? I don't have my mask in here. Where's your mask?
Mask in a casket, y'all.
Wear your mask or you'll end up in a casket. Make sure you sanitize. Please sanitize. Wash them hands. Do what you need to do. Where's my sanitizer? Here it is. Here it is. Get you some sanitizer. Social distance. Social distance. Please do that. And you know what we always say on this show. If you can't do any of those things, keep your ass in the house. How about that?
Absolutely.
Right? Yes, keep your ass in the house if you can't do none of that, okay? Well, on behalf of my co-host, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you all. Barring no technical difficulties tomorrow evening, we'll be back at 7 o'clock in the evening. God bless. Good night. See y'all later. All right, Maurice, I'm going to end it and call you, brother. Thanks.
All right.
All right.